You knew your soul signed a contract before you were born? In this video, I'll reveal what Seth explains about the spiritual contracts that shape your life. If you want to discover why you face certain hardships and challenges, stick with me. Understanding this contract can transform your destiny immediately. Maybe you're going through a difficult time, losses, pain, patterns that make no sense. Perhaps you've asked yourself, why is this happening to me? I understand. Because we've all felt there's an invisible piece missing from the puzzle of our existence. And the truth is, that piece exists. It's written in an agreement your soul signed before your very first breath. Grasping that contract changes everything. Suddenly you realize nothing was in vain, neither the mistakes nor the tears. Every chapter of your story carries a deeper purpose. And when you remember that agreement, you stop feeling lost and start feeling guided. Today, I'll help you find that path again. Seth, the non-physical consciousness channeled by Jane Roberts, revealed truths that defy linear logic but resonate deeply with the soul. One of these truths is the existence of spiritual contracts, choices made by your own consciousness before incarnation. These ideas aren't confined to the spiritual realm. Transpersonal psychology, quantum physics, and epigenetics all point to a deeper blueprint governing our experience. Dr. Michael Newton, for example, documented hundreds of between-lives memories via regression hypnosis, describing agreements made before birth. Greg Braden, physicist and spiritual teacher, insists we live in a participatory universe where our souls co-create experiences before matter even exists. In other words, you're not at the mercy of chance. You're the author, even if you don't remember. And now, let's begin remembering together. A spiritual contract isn't a piece of paper signed in some cosmic court. It's a vibrational decision made by your soul on levels so profound, the human mind can barely conceive them. Before you were born, you, as eternal consciousness, chose the central themes of this lifetime. The challenges, the encounters, the lessons, and even the gifts. This doesn't mean everything is rigidly predetermined, but certain milestones, these soul tests, are indeed agreed upon. You knew what would come, and yet you said, yes. Because on the soul plane, everything has purpose. To grow, to remember, to evolve, and to love. These contracts are forged between souls who recognize each other beyond time. Often, those who hurt us most here are the ones who love us most on higher levels. They accepted the role of awakener in our story, even if it means being seen as the villain. Harsh, yes, but also liberating. Because this understanding lets you see beyond the surface of events. It shows that behind the pain, there is intention. Behind the conflict, there is agreement. Behind the loss, there is purpose. When you grasp this, you don't justify suffering, but you transcend its limited view. Seth explains that these contracts are learning focal points, chosen by your soul with full awareness of the energies you wish to integrate. For instance, if you wanted to learn trust, you may have chosen an uncertain childhood. If you wanted to learn forgiveness, someone very close may have shattered your confidence. All of this sounds cruel, until you realize what it made you. Every wound was an activation code. And the contract? It was the secret map you left for yourself, one that, when deciphered, reveals you were never a victim of fate but always the incarnated creator. Modern physics no longer dismisses these possibilities. Time, Einstein taught us, is an illusion. Consciousness, quantum physics suggests, may exist independently of matter. This opens the door to the idea that in higher states of awareness, like in the between-lives space, you truly made choices before incarnation. Jung's archetypal psychology also proposes that deep patterns guide us like invisible scripts. What if those patterns are the clauses of your soul's contract? Your life's storyline may not be random, but the enactment of a plan you drew up yourself. Not to punish you, but to expand you. Understanding the spiritual contract changes the game of life. When you see challenges as parts of a greater plan, suffering gains context. It doesn't vanish, but it transforms. Despair becomes inquiry. Pain becomes a tool. And the most ordinary experience takes on sacred depth. You begin to live with more intention, more presence, more vibrational responsibility. Because if you signed that contract, you also hold the power to fulfill it. The amnesia was temporary. But now, remembrance is knocking at your door. Discovering the contract your soul signed doesn't require grand rituals or external answers. The true map lies within you. Everything that disturbs you, everything that repeatedly challenges you, every theme in your life, those are clues. The soul speaks through repetition. Repeating situations aren't bad luck, they're reminders. People who trigger the same wounds? Disguised teachers. What you avoid most might be the very place of greatest growth potential. Because your soul's contract is structured to gently or forcefully nudge you toward what needs healing, integration, and release. You can also access this contract through your sensitivity. In moments of deep silence, during meditation, or on the threshold of sleep, intuitions arise. Words, images, memories. These can be fragments of the larger plan's remembrance. The heart is the true translator of the soul's language. And the body speaks too. Tension, illness, chronic anxiety. They signal that you're trying to run from what you vowed to live. Not as punishment, but as an alert system. Your own energy field is trying to guide you back to your original purpose. And when you start listening, reality begins to shift. Seth suggests that conscious curiosity is one of the most powerful tools for reconnection. Asking with intent, what is this trying to teach me? Why does this pain feel so familiar? What lies beyond this frustration? Activates dormant parts of your being. The soul answers sincere questions through synchronicities, encounters, books, dreams. Nothing is random when you seek with your heart. The universe reorganizes to deliver clues, and these clues are everywhere. The problem is, we often expect spectacular answers, when the truth arrives whispering in the ordinary. Past life therapy, altered states of consciousness, such as holotropic breathwork, and even moments of profound existential crisis can open memory portals. Many report that during near-death experiences or utter loss, they felt a wordless remembrance, as if something greater whispered, "You knew this would come." And they did know. The soul never fully forgets. It simply goes silent until you're ready to hear. And if you're here now, watching this video, it's because you are ready to remember, ready to claim what you came to accomplish. Recognizing your spiritual contract is more than uncovering a destiny. It's reclaiming power over your own narrative. It doesn't mean passively accepting everything. In fact, it means living with greater consciousness, with more presence, with more choice. Because the soul's contract isn't a prison, it's a path. And those who remember the path begin to walk it with purpose. And walking with purpose transforms everything. The greatest illusion about spiritual contracts is thinking they're immutable. But Seth is clear. Everything is in constant co-creation. Even if your soul chose certain challenges before birth, it doesn't mean you're stuck with them forever. The contract isn't punishment. It's an agreement based on learning, not on eternal suffering. And the most beautiful thing is that you can indeed renegotiate it. As you gain more consciousness, more love, more clarity, you can rewrite parts of that plan. Because the universe responds to your current vibrational state, not just to the old signature made on another plane. Renegotiating the contract begins with one choice: to live awake. That means facing your pain with courage, identifying repeating cycles, and asking, have I integrated this lesson? If the answer is yes, if you've already learned, forgiven, embraced, you can energetically declare you're ready to move on. You can do this in a moment of deep connection, speaking to your own soul. I'm grateful for what I've learned. I'm ready for a new cycle. And the universe listens. Because, as Neville Goddard taught, you create from your inner state. Change your frequency, and the story around you changes too. Consciously fulfilling the contract also demands presence. Often, we try to escape pain, not realizing it's the bridge. We flee discomfort, loneliness, frustration, without understanding that there lies the lesson we chose to live. When you embrace the process without rushing to rid yourself of it, but with an open heart, something magical happens. Pain transforms into wisdom. And then, you fulfill the contract not as a burden, but as an act of love. An act of loyalty to your own soul. And that fulfillment carries no weight, it brings freedom. There are also collective contracts between families, groups, entire peoples. And often, when you decide to break an ancestral pattern, you're fulfilling not only your own contract, but the contract of liberation for generations. Seth says that every awakened soul awakens hundreds around it. Therefore, your choice to live consciously has an impact beyond what you imagine. You become an anchor of light on the physical plane. A being who remembers. A being who teaches by example. And that is the deepest way to fulfill a spiritual contract. By being who you came to be. From the moment you live in alignment with your soul, life begins to flow differently. Not because challenges disappear, but because you understand them. You stop resisting and start cooperating with existence's flow. Everything becomes lighter. Weight transforms into purpose. Pain becomes a portal. Chaos becomes clarity. And you, at last, become the conscious author of the journey that, truly, was always yours. When you realize nothing that happens to you is by chance, That every person, every sorrow, every victory, every loss is part of a plan you helped design. Something inside you changes forever. You begin to live with sharper eyes, a more present heart, and a calmer mind. Anxiety fades because you feel you're exactly where you should be. Guilt dissolves because you understand that even mistakes were part of the plan. And fear? It makes room for trust. Because even without knowing what comes next, you know a higher purpose guides it all. This shift in perspective also activates a new level of compassion. You start seeing others with more love, even those who hurt you. Because you understand that, on some level, they were playing the part they agreed to take on. This doesn't excuse abuse, but it transforms resentment into understanding. You learn to let go, to forgive, to transmute, and in the process, you heal yourself. You heal parts of you that were frozen in pain. Because now you know, it was all part of your plan. And if it was part of the plan, then you can use it to awaken. In the end, knowing you signed this contract is a powerful reminder. You are more than you imagine. You didn't come into this world by accident, nor to suffer without meaning. You came to remember who you are, to live with intention, to heal and teach through your presence, to be a channel of consciousness in a world still asleep. And when you live this way, everything changes. Life ceases to be a string of random obstacles and becomes a sacred journey, a reunion with your soul, a return to your inner home. Now you know, your soul chose to be here. Every challenge, every encounter, every pain, nothing was by chance. It's all part of a plan you helped write before you were born. This spiritual contract isn't punishment, it's mission. And remembering it changes everything. It changes how you live, feel, and respond to life. Because now you understand, you are the creator of your own journey. If this truth touched your soul, type in the comments, "I choose to remember." Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who needs to awaken. This is more than a gesture. It's a vibrational alignment with your purpose. Your action sends a signal to the universe. I am ready. And in the next video, we'll reveal why your soul chose to forget who it was, and how that amnesia is the key to true awakening. You won't want to miss it. All of this was in the contract, and now you remember.